Okay, so for today's lesson, we are going to look into the February-March 2026 paper 1. Okay, so if you have already done it, you can check your answers. Okay, and yeah, there's no answer online yet, if I'm not mistaken. So we will discuss together. So if you have already done it, you can mark your answers and see how many questions you did correctly. If you have not done so, it's all right. You can do it together when we discuss. Okay, so let's have a look into the first question. What could cause a reduction in the factors of production in a country? So what will be your answers? First question. So we will finish up this paper 1 first before we move on to the paper 2 structured questions, yeah? So the first question, which of the following will result in a fall in the factors of production? A reduction. So one tips here is that reduction in the factors of production means these are the resources that initially you had, but now you do not have it anymore. So which one? We start with Megan first. What is your answer for your first question one? Question one. Question one is answers. Yeah, answer. Chris, what is your answer? Hey, still opening file. Oh my God.
D.
It cannot be donkey. The answer is A. Okay, so the answer is A. Why cannot be donkey? Let me explain one by one. So first one here, the answer is A because when there's a decrease in population, so less people, so there will be less labor, less workers. Okay, so that will result in a reduction in the factors of production. Why it cannot be donkey? Because an increase in the unemployment rate, a lot of people become jobless, but these people are still in your country. So it's just that the resources are being left idle. So you cannot call it as a reduction in the factors of production. You still have the factors of production with you, but it's just that it's being left idle. So donkey cannot be the answers. Unemployment rate means that there are people being unemployed. Okay, there are resources being left idle. Ah, okay. So the answer is A. Correct. Question 2. A government reduced social security spending by 10 billion in order to increase defense spending by 10 billion. What is this example of? So, the government is deciding between spending the money on social security spending or defense spending. So kind of opportunity cost, kind of trade-off. But here they are saying that they reduce the money on social security spending to increase the defense spending by 10 billion. So they are using the resources, they are using the funds on different aspects. So this one very direct, reallocation of resources. Correct. Donkey. Question 3. The diagram shows an economy located at point X on an initial PPC curve. The government would like to move to point Y from X to Y. So which policy is likely to achieve this outcome? Which one? So you can see there's a shift outwards. There's an outward shift of the PPC curve from X to Y. Okay, so there's an economic growth taking place and increase in the productive capacity of the economy. B-boy, encourage the immigration of skilled labor into the country. Encourage the immigration of skilled labor into the country. Okay, so therefore, they will result in the shift of the PPC curve to the outwards. So now you are able to produce more. Okay, you are able to produce more of both items actually. Okay, so you have to choose B because it can result in the shift of the graph. Now, can someone tell me why we cannot choose A as the answers? Why A cannot be the answers? You have to think back what PPC shows us. A PPC shows us the maximum level of output that we can produce by using all the resources in full. Okay, so therefore, Here it shows us what we can produce by using all the resources in full. We do not take into account of the impacts of indirect taxes or subsidies and so on. So when we talk about a cut of the indirect taxes on consumer goods, okay, that will influence the supply. But then you will only show this on the demand and supply graph, not on the PPC. Because PPC shows us the maximum. How much is the maximum that can produce by using all the resources in full? But when you want to see the impact on a cut of indirect taxes or a cut in subsidies or a provision of subsidies, all this you can only show this on the demand and supply curve, where you can see how that results in the impact of the shift of the demand and supply. Okay, so the answer is B boy. So cut in indirect taxes can only be represented on the demand and supply graph. Cut in indirect taxes shift the supply. Indirect tax. Indirect tax is on supply, not demand. Indirect tax on goods and services. Indirect tax on goods and services is always on producers. So it's on supply. All right. Now, next question. Okay, for this paper, I actually expect you to get very high marks though, because it's not very challenging for this one. What is likely to reduce the price of an airline's flight? Hashini, what is your answer? A is the answers. A, increased competition. More competition will result in lower prices. Okay. Higher demand will result in higher price. So cannot be B. Okay. Yeah. Increased fuel prices or increased wages, that means it will result in higher cost. Higher cost will result in higher price. So the answer is A. Okay. Question 5. The diagram shows the market for a good. If the current disequilibrium price is at P1, what will need to happen to adjust the market equilibrium at point Z? So at first it's at P1. Okay, what will happen to adjust the position to market equilibrium? So you see at P1 the price is very high, so they will have to do something to bring it back to the equilibrium. So what will need to happen? So price will have to go down, isn't it? Okay, price will have to go down. So therefore, when price goes down, you can see the movement along the demand curve and the movement along the supply curve, right? So therefore, what can you see over here? When the price goes down, more people will be buying, higher quantity demanded, right? So when price goes down, there will be higher quantity demanded. So we call it as extension in demand. Okay, extension in demand. Okay. On the other hand, we have lower price that result in lower quantity supply. So that's what I call as contraction in the supply. Okay. So therefore, you can see the movement along the demand and supply curve due to the price factor itself. When the price fall to adjust to back to the equilibrium. So the answer is A. A is the answers. Okay. Now, next question. Question 6. Which combination of changes in the price and quantity demanded will result in a PD of negative 0.1? So PD. So therefore, for this question, basically you just put into the formula. The formula of PD is percentage change in the quantity demanded over percentage change in price. So you substitute that in and see which one of the following will result in negative 0.1. Very good. B is the answers. Okay, so you use this one, negative 1 divided by 10. Again, negative 1% divided by 10%. So therefore, you can see you have the percentage change in quantity demanded, negative 1%, okay, divided by 10%, positive 10%. So that equals to negative 0.1. Okay, so therefore, the answer here is B. 6B. Question four, what answers? Question four is A. Four is A, 5A, and then 6B. Okay. Question seven. What is a key feature of a market economic system? Key feature of a market economic system, that means free market. So this one very direct. That means in a free market, there'll be a combination of which one? Key feature. Free market, Okay, very direct. Yeah. A, not free market, not mixed market. So in a free market, there will be all the firms trying to compete with each other. So that will usually result in lower prices and better quality of products. Okay, so the answer is B boy. Competition result in lower prices and more choices for consumers. Correct. A, C, and donkey cannot be the answers because it involve the government. Involve the government. Okay. Next one, some private sector firms in the free market allocate resources inefficiently by causing external costs. Which concept does this describe? Externalities. Externalities, that means it will result in market failures. Market failures. Okay? So how do you define market failures? How do you define market failures? Inefficient allocation of resources, okay, that results in non-optimal outcomes in terms of price and quantity. Okay? Now, can someone give me the examples of market failures? Lack of public goods, overproduction and overconsumption of demand goods, underproduction and underconsumption of merit goods, externalities, all right, good, externalities, monopoly, factors in mobility. Okay, good, correct. Okay, number 8 is C, yeah? Okay, next one. Question number 9. A government give farmers a subsidy of $5 per kilo to supply food on the open market, where X is the original equivalent position. The effect is illustrated in the diagram shown. So at first it's at point X, at this price and at this quantity. So with a subsidy of $5 per kilo, what will happen then? So that means there's a gap here, $5, the subsidy $5, gap here. Okay. So we have to find out the new equivalent price and new equivalent quantity. So subsidy will shift the supply curve to the right. Okay, so in the end, you find where's the new equilibrium, which is here. So at this price and at this quantity. Okay, so which one is the answers? B. B boy is the answers. Yeah, B. B is the answers. Okay, next one. Why is a central bank important to producers? How is central bank, like example Bank Negara Malaysia, important to producers, like firms? So producers here, that means we're focusing on the production. So why central bank is important to producers, Xin Ling? What is your answer? Yeah, to ensure price stability, or what we call as to achieving low inflation. To maintain price stability or achieving low inflation. The answer is B boy, 10 B boy. 10 B boy. Quite that, right? Okay, next question. 11. What might have caused savings to rise faster than income in a particular year? You save more than your income, saving is rising faster than income. Which of the following could result in this? Vince, what is your answer? 11. Question 11. Ryan, what is your answer? A. Okay, income increase at a greater rate than the inflation. So your income is increasing faster than inflation. For example, your income increased by 10%, inflation only 5%. So you have the extra that you can use for saving. So therefore, your saving could be increasing. Okay, so the answer is A. Okay, A, yeah, A is the answers. When your income increase faster than the inflation. You cannot circle donkey. The rate of income tax increase, then you have to pay more tax. So therefore, it will cause your saving to fall. So cannot be donkey. Yeah. Next question. On average, doctors earn more than bus drivers. Which change would be likely to reduce the earning gaps between the doctors and the bus drivers? What do we mean by earning gaps? For example, doctors earn a lot, and then bus driver earn very little. So there's a big gap. So how do we reduce the gap? Doctors is earning a lot, bus driver earning a little, so there's a big gap. So we want to reduce the gap. So which of the following could reduce the gap? Very good. So yeah, we want to reduce the gap as in doctor earn less, bus driver earn more. Yes, you want to find that. You want to find that one that doctors earn less, but bus driver earn more. So Karen, what is your answer for this one? Quick, quick, quick. Huh? Kai-sun, you made a mistake. It cannot be donkey. An increase in the number of people passing a driving test, then then isn't that will make more there could be more bus drivers, and that will decrease the bus driver wages even further. So cannot be donkey. B-boy. B-boy. Very good, Karen. Very good, Cindy. A decrease in the qualification needed to be the doctors. So when there is a decrease in the qualification needed to be a doctor, so what will happen? There will be higher supply of doctors, and that will result in lower wages. Okay, so doctor will earn less. So that reduce the earning gap. B boy is the answers. Yes, B-boy. Very good. Okay, next question. Question 13. A car manufacturer has increased the amount of specialization in its factory, which diagram shows the impact on the market for the manufacturer's cars. Increased specialization, that means what? That means the producer focus on what they're good at. So it will increase their production. The supply will increase. So supply increase that result in lower prices and higher quantity, which is the aim or the objective of the specialization. Donkey. Donkey, yeah? 13 donkey. 13 donkey. Question 14. A group of workers in a firm joins a trade union. What would the union be expected to do? Siobhan, what is your answer? Hey, try again. Trade union. I do not think so. Try again, look properly. Huh? The answer should be something to do with negotiating with the employers, focusing on the welfare of the workers. Think about it again. No. The answer is B-boy. Discuss the safety issue in the workplace with the employer. So to ensure that there's a safe working environment for the workers. You cannot talk about A, arrange for labor saving technology to be introduced, not so relevant for the trade union. Ensure job security by promoting the firm's products through advertising. I do not think that they focus on this. They may ensure job security, but not through the promoting firm's products through advertising. So that's not relevant. Negotiate new contract with major buyers of the firm's products. That's like doing sales already. They are negotiating new contracts with major buyers of the firm's product. So no, that is not what they are doing. They are focusing on the welfare of the workers. So they will try to negotiate for higher wages or better working conditions with the employers. So the answer is more towards B-boy. Yeah, collective bargaining. So cannot be other answers. Okay, next question. Next question. The table shows the output, the total fixed cost, and total variable cost of a firm. What can be concluded from the data? This one you just calculate only. So, wait, you sure or not? How come? Hmm? Try. Okay. What is the answer for question 15 again? 15. No, need to calculate. Confirm got answers, right? Okay, then we calculate one by one. I saw that different answers being given. Okay, first of all, average total cost. Let's see. So to calculate average total cost, so here got fixed cost and variable cost. You can calculate total cost first, and then only calculate average total cost. Okay, so you calculate one by one. Because I saw a lot of you circle B-boy. I do not think it's B-boy though. Let's see first. So 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. Okay. Then average total cost, you divide. You use total cost divided by output. So 400, 300. Then this one is how much? 4,000 divided by 15. 5,000 divided by 20 is 250. The average total cost is falling down. Why circle B-boy? No, it's not B-boy. Let's look into average variable cost. How do you calculate average variable cost? You use variable cost divided by quantity. Okay, 1000 divided by 5 is 200, 200, 200, 200. Isn't it? The average variable cost remains constant. The answer is C. You shouldn't make mistake for this question. Now, I want to ask one thing. When you produce more output, average fixed cost confirms will fall. Okay? Why? This one's surely wrong because it say constant. Because confirm, when output rises, AFC fall. Why? Because total fixed cost is spread over the rising number of output produced. Yeah, because the fixed cost is fixed. The fixed cost is fixed, so when you produce more output, it will be spread over the rising number of output produced. So A surely wrong because when you produce more, AFC will fall. Okay, next question. What allows a monopoly to charge a high price for its products and still make a profit? Charge high price and still make a profit. Wenxin, what's your answer for this one? No substitute and high barriers to enter. C is the answer. Good. Number 17, which government actions are primarily aimed at achieving an international impact? Which of the following can have international impacts that relates to, for example, international trade? I think Wenxin, just now you didn't give me answers, so I would like you to give me your answers, Wenxin. It should be something to do with international trade. For example, exchange rate could influence international trade. Tariff, which is import tax, will affect international trade. When you talk about setting a minimum wage, it's only affecting the local economy. Deregulating industry also on the local only. So the answer is B boy. Okay, B boy. You can only choose the one that will have an impact on international trade, for example. Setting a minimum wage and deregulating industry is just on a local basis. It's just on the local economy. Number 18, governments aim to encourage stable prices because inflation can result in the current account deficit on the balance of payment. How does inflation contribute to a current account deficit? So, Elena, what is your answer for this one? How is inflation resulting in current account deficit? Because price is too high, yeah, very good. That will make the local prices no longer competitive and people will buy imports. Goods manufactured for export will lose the competitiveness. So less people buying the country's products while the local products will buy more from the imports. and that will result in current account deficit. 17 B-boy, 18 B-boy. 19. Which feature of a text is not desirable? Anup, where's your answer for this one? Not desirable. Okay, let's see. Not desirable. Yes, correct. C is the answer. Equal payments by all citizens is unfair. You ask everyone to pay the same amount of tax, that's very unfair. Why is that unfair? Because it ignores the ability to pay. You ask everyone to pay, for example, 1,000 of tax or 2,000 of tax. Everyone pay the same regardless of the income. That will be very unfair for the poor. The poor may not be able to pay for it, so it ignores the ability to pay. So it is not desirable because it ignores the ability to pay. Okay? What is an example of expansionary monetary policy? This is a very simple question. As long as you do not make careless mistake, you will be able to score. Example of expansionary monetary policy that's used to influence aggregate demand and it's under monetary. You will have to choose the one that match with the instruments of monetary policy. Donkey. Very good. Yes, thank you very much. Donkey is the answers. Okay, donkey is the answer. Okay. 20 donkey. 21. A country has high unemployment and low inflation. To reduce unemployment, government spend on education and training, causing a budget deficit. Budget deficit means what? Government spending larger than taxation revenue. They spend too much. Okay, so what is most likely the impact of this policy on inflation in the short run and long run? They spend more for short run, there will be higher inflation. In the long run, when the training improve their productivity, they are more efficient, they are able to produce at a lower cost, and that result in lower price. In the long run, inflation will decrease. So the answer is C, 21C. 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 22. The following information was published by an economy central bank. In which case was the real GDP growth the highest? You are comparing between the nominal rate of GDP growth and the rate of inflation. So, in order for you to have real GDP, you must ensure at least nominal GDP growth is higher than the inflation rate. So, confirm C and donkey cannot be the answers really because the inflation is larger than the nominal GDP growth. So either A or B, you just look into the difference. You look in the difference between nominal GDP growth and the rate of inflation. So this one, A here, 2 minus 1 equals to 1% only. But for B here, 7 minus 5, you got extra 2%. Okay, so therefore the answer here is B boy. You only look into a difference. You only look into the difference which is at the largest. The largest difference between the nominal GDP growth rate and the inflation rate. B boy is the answers. Next question, 23. The table shows the percentage change in some of the items of the CPI in a year. Okay, what will be the most likely consequence of these changes? So here shows the percentage increase in prices. So what will be the consequences? Alison, what is your answer for this one? Uh, cannot say demand side because it's more towards okay. Cannot be deflation. Alison, you made a careless mistake. Donkey here is deflation. Cannot. Deflation means price going down. This one price increase. Uh-oh. No, no, no. This one cannot. This deflation cannot. Deflation means price going down. Answer is yeah. No, Kai-sun. Nothing to do with interest rate. Why suddenly interest rate? Do CPI tell you something to do with interest rate? No. No, I like this paper because without answers, so I can see how you answers. Ha! Without answers, so I can see your answering your actual answers. Yeah, but consequence. But CPI has nothing to do with interest rate and also distribution of income. It's not even relevant in the first place. Definitely not the answers. So you are not even supposed to circle A or B. And you can't say B boy because how can it result in more equal distribution of income? The cost of living is increasing right now. Higher prices will result in higher cost of living. You can see things becoming more expensive, isn't it? And when you look into all these four items, you can see the price of energy, and price of transportation. So all this will result in the cost of production to be increased as well. So that will be a cost push inflation. The answer is C. So you cannot circle A or B because it's not relevant. Donkey cannot be the answers because price is falling down. So the answer is C. There will be a cost push inflation. As you can see, the price of energy, like electricity, and the price of transportation have been increasing. So therefore, there will be a cost push inflation. Seems like you're making a lot of mistakes in this paper. Oh. Uh-oh. 24. Cuba is said to be transitioning towards a market economy system from a planned market converting into a free market. So, what is most likely impact of this on the pattern of employment in Cuba? They are moving towards a free market. Less people working in the public sector. A is the answer. 24A. What is not a component of HDI? Not a component of HDI. Stock of natural resources. What could explain the rise in the country's population size despite a fall in its birth rate? So, which of the following could result in the rise in the country's population size? Store of natural resources, that just means that the natural resources that you have. Some countries are very abundant with the natural resources. Yeah, correct, Kaishun. Okay, so 26, what is the answer? Cindy, what is the answer for this one? Huh? Why you all give me I I net I want to have an increase in the population size. And you all tell me donkey. Donkey means emigration, net emigration. People moving out. A birth rate that exceeds the death rate. The rest cannot result in higher increase in the country's population size. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Net migration. Elena, net migration. Careless mistake. Okay, now, what is a basis for specialization at a national level? Specialization at a national level means what? International specialization. That means every country focus on what they are good at, what they are efficient in. So, which one? What is the basis that encourage international specialization? That allows every country to focus on what they are good at. Siobhan, what is your answer for this one? 26. 26 is A. Siobhan? Yeah, superior resource allocation. Okay, they are able to allocate their resources. Okay, they are able to allocate their resources. So to allocate their resources into the production they are efficient in, they are good at. So they focus on what they're good at and they produce that, and whatever surplus will be sold to other countries in the form of exports. So that will encourage international specialization. Every country focus on what they're good at, and the rest will be imported. Okay, so the answer is C. The import of a product from country X to country Y has been banned. What is this example of? What is the example of this? Total ban. Embargo. Embargo. Embargo, A. Huh? No, because I saw that only one person answering me. That's why I'm just curious. The rest. Embargo is a total ban on imports. One question from Megan. Embargo means a total ban. Like for example, you are not allowed to import a certain item or any items from a country. For example, we cannot import from Israel, for example, or you cannot import weapons from other countries. So it's a total ban. Next question. Because I was waiting others to give me the answers, Kaisen. Yeah. What is necessary to be able to operate at a fixed exchange rate system? Fixed exchange rate system, that means is where the government will come in and intervene in the exchange rate. So what will be the answers? So what will be the answer for this one? Yeah, Ryan, okay. Huh? Wait, this one, 29. 29. By the way, Kaisun, the one that you asked me, right? I think the sanctions that you're referring to is about the rules. It's about the rules that restrict that restrict certain imports. Embargo is a total ban. Sanctions, I do not think we do not learn that as one of the trade protections. Yeah. So embargo is a total ban. So it's more accurate to call it as embargo. When you talk about sanction, it's more towards rules or the restriction, trade restrictions to restrict certain activities. Yeah, reserve or foreign reserve in order for the government or the country to intervene in the exchange rate market. Okay. A developing economy has a surplus on its trade in goods of 75 billion, surplus 75 billion, deficit 25 billion, while its current account is in overall balance. So what do you mean by overall balance? Neither surplus nor deficit. Means what? Money inflow equals to money outflow. Okay, so what values for the primary income and secondary income will result in the current account being in balance? Neither surplus nor deficit means it's neither positive nor negative, so it will equals to be zero. You have to find that it equals to zero. So how do you get your current account? Trade in goods plus trade in services plus primary income plus secondary income. So trade in goods, 75 billion. Trade in services, deficit. Deficit means negative. You must put the negative sign. So you have to find primary income and secondary income. Which one is the answers? Hey, Siobhan, you haven't answered me yet. You have to find the one that equals to zero. Siobhan, no response from you, huh? Okay, so primary income, surplus of 40 billion and deficit of 90 billion. Okay, equal to zero. Correct or not? Equals to zero. Answer is donkey. Donkey. Okay, donkey. So calculate and see how many questions you did correctly. If you have already done this before the class, I'd like to know how many questions you did correctly. Mm-hmm. Okay, now let's continue. February, March 2026 paper 2. So I would like to do the section B first. We are going to discuss verbally. Section B, okay, this is the question. Okay, now, no country, including the US, escapes the economic problem. The US has a high GDP per head. However, it also has a high degree of income inequality. They are both super rich billionaires and people living in poverty. In 2023, 12% of the US household had one or more members who missed meals because they did not have enough money to buy sufficient food. Some argue that the rich should pay a very high rate of income tax. Okay, so here they are saying that in US, right? They still have economic problem, normal, every country will have it. And although US is a developed country, but they still have a lot of income, they still have a high degree of income inequality, a lot of people living in poverty. Okay. And now they were saying that the rich should pay a very high rate of income tax. Okay, some very good information for you to know here before we answer the questions. Now, first question, state why the economic problem exists. Oh, this is easy. State. State means you do not have to go and explain. State. why the economic problem exists. So I'm going to just write the answers here, okay, in a point form. First one, why economic problem exists? Very good, Cindy. You got the full marks already. Yeah. The rest, scarcity, unlimited wants and needs, but they are limited resources. Very good. Okay. So yeah. So let me write down. Point form, scarcity, scarcity, okay, unlimited wants and needs, but limited resources. Okay, done. All right, very simple. Okay, now next one. Explain true reasons for differences. Okay, reasons for differences in income distribution between countries. So what do we mean by income distribution? Income distribution means how the income is distributed, is divided between the people in the country, whether it's equal or unequal. So income distribution over here, for example, if I say equal income distribution means what? So that means it's quite fair. Everyone get about, you can think about like the income is divided equally among the people in the country. So we call it as equal income distribution. If I say uneven, uneven income distribution or unequal income distribution, what do I mean? Uneven or unequal means what? Means income inequality already. That means some people get a lot of income, some people get very less income. So that's why I call it as income distribution here. Either is equal or uneven or unequal. So, what are the reasons that can explain the differences in income distribution between countries? Why some countries they can have a quite equal income distribution, but some countries they have a very big income inequality, where the rich are very rich, poor are very poor, with uneven income distribution. What are the reasons? Chapter 5. This is under chapter 5. Elena, you're right, but the explanation something explanation not so correct. You can talk about taxes, differences in taxes. Yeah, can. First one, you can talk about differences in taxes. Some countries will have a good progressive tax system. The rich will pay more taxes, which is fairer. And some poor countries, they have weak enforcement on taxes. They have weak enforcement of tax, or they have a very weak system, weak tax system, a very weak tax system. Okay, so differences in the tax system. Okay, so Elena, you're right. Just the explanation. What else? I want four answers. Hey, all these are good questions. Difference in taxes. What else? Some countries they have better access to education, so therefore they are better skilled, better qualified, so they can get a higher paid. Majority of the people will get higher paid jobs. Differences in education. What else? Not no. Try again, Elena. I think the point is unclear. So without answer scheme, then no one can tell me answers already. Differences in economic development. Some countries are very well developed country, so their income distribution is more developed, is more even. But some countries they are very poor, so they are not very developed, least developed, so therefore their income distribution is very uneven. So differences in economic development. technological advancement. But Cindy, the one that you talk about public spending, that one is different points, huh? One point on technological advancement and one point is on education and healthcare. Both are different things. So you talk about education and you can also talk about difference in healthcare. Yes, differences in healthcare. Yes, can. Corruption. Some countries are very corrupted, so therefore, it will result in very uneven or unequal distribution. Okay, Siobhan say it's easy. Now your turn to answer me the next question. Analyze how government could increase the access of low-income household to food. So Siobhan, your turn to give me answers that for this one. How government can increase the access of low-income household to food to ensure that they have access to food. Hey, for this one, we are more efficient now. We are doing the point form, not like writing the full answers because by doing this, you can learn more actually. Okay, so now everyone can think of answers. Don't be too quiet. Hey, I realize in social media, there are people who do the past year, like they are discussing the past year questions for other subjects, right? And for econs, I saw someone doing the explanation for section A, is it? Then no one do section B, right? Am I right, Megan? Because I saw that day you screenshot for me. I think there was one teacher explaining the section A one. Then later after today's class, I can post this on YouTube, lor. We do section B one. Yeah, can, because I also have a channel, ma. Okay. Subsidy. Yes. Okay. How do you explain that, Ken? So you can talk about subsidies, okay, reduce costs and increase output. So lower prices for the poor. 4 marks already, though. Like this, you get 4 marks already, though. 3 to 4 marks already. Okay, good. Maximum price. Ken. Maximum price to make it affordable for the poor to access to food. Now, when we talk about poor people will have access to food, what kind of poverty will be reduced? What kind of poverty will be reduced? Absolute. What else? Social welfare can, but not about education, Siobhan. Unless you talk about campaign, but a bit not so convincing. You can talk about just now you talk about public welfare or what we call as the government welfare or state welfare. Welfare benefits. Welfare benefits can, but you need to explain this one. How state welfare or government welfare helps the poor, the low income household to access to food. Yes, can, Cindy, that one can. State welfare can, but how? How do you explain this one? Roughly. State welfare. That means like what you say, public welfare. So like for example, they can give some financial grants for the poor, right? So welfare as in like what? Maybe like state benefits or unemployment benefits, okay, that help the low income people to get the necessities. So instead of writing education, you do not write education, you talk about state benefits or unemployment benefits. So the next answer that you have mentioned, free meals. That means what do we call that? Like government give you the items directly. What is that called in econs? The explanations is correct. I'm looking for the word. So Siobhan said that implementing free meals in school to ensure children receive the consistent nutrition, okay, and help to increase their food budget. Not free good, no. What is the term called, Siobhan? Donation? No. Direct provision. Direct provision of goods and services. They provide directly. Direct provisions of goods or free meals directly. Okay? Sorry, what do you mean, Siobhan? Okay, now next one. Discuss whether or not government should impose a high rate of personal income tax on the rich. Whether they should impose a high rate of personal income tax on the rich. Okay, you want to try? Come. So I want to have 2 points to agree and 2 points to disagree. Whether government should impose a high rate of income tax on the rich. I want to have 2 points to agree and 2 points to disagree. Agree. Agree by saying that government should impose a high rate of income tax on the rich. Income equality. Very good. Or you can call it as reducing income inequality. And when you tax more on the rich, can you tell me what kind of tax system is this? What kind of tax system is this? Progressive. Yes, and I can see Siobhan give me another answer. Increasing tax revenue also can. Okay, so first one, you can say this will reduce income inequality because it's a progressive tax system. So it's fairer to tax more on rich. Okay. Now, second, you thought about this can also increase the tax revenue. So therefore, these funds can be used for economic development. Very good. These two are very good answers. Okay, now I want you to tell me what are the points to disagree that we shouldn't impose a high rate of income tax on the rich. Why they should not? Yes, this incentive effect for work. So the first thing you can talk about this incentive effect, okay, on workers or on business. So people will be, how do you get good marks? You must relate to specific econs words, voluntary unemployed. Okay. So some people will be choose to be voluntary unemployed. Okay. So therefore resources will be left idle, right? Because people are unemployed, resources are left idle resources, underutilized resources, underutilized resources. Okay, you can talk. Wow, Siobhan, your answers are very fast. By taking a larger portion of their income, there's less private money spending. Okay, how do you relate to econs terms? The explanation is correct. You are lacking of the econs terms. What are the econs terms you can relate to? less spending, less investments, so less aggregate demand, so that result in slower economic growth. I'm looking for all these keywords, so do not explain your answers too generally. I'm expecting for specific keywords. So when you say that the business and the people have less money to expand or to borrow or to grow or to spend, I'm expecting you to relate a bit. Like for yours one, you say about money for business to borrow and grow, right? Then you can relate to like aggregate supply. You can relate to economic growth. But here I'm talking about spending because income tax affects on demand. Income tax affects on the demand curve. So I can talk about less total spending, less investment, so less total demand or aggregate demand, so slower economic growth. Yeah. So here I focus more on aggregate demand. Okay, what else? Anyone has any other answers? Too high of income tax, what will happen? People run away from tax, avoid taxes. Very good, Anu. Tax evasion. So tax evasion, what will happen? The government will end up spending more to enforce the law. So these are the answers. Choose any 2 points to agree and 2 points to disagree. Okay? Do you need me to wait for a while or to screenshot? Or I can just erase. So just erase, huh? Okay.
Wait, is
Yeah.
it like for the disagree, right? For the disadvantages?
Ah,
You wrote their disincentive effect on workers, right?
ah.
Is it just the same as like leading to fewer jobs and slower economic
Leading to what? Sorry?
fewer jobs?
New jobs?
Fewer.
Not to say fewer jobs. It's just that now they choose not to work
No,
because
because
there's
like
no incentive for you to work.
yeah,
This incentive effect means like they have no incentive to go to work because when you earn more, you have to pay more tax, so they might as well choose not to work.
so can I write
If
like higher income taxes on the rich may reduce investment in businesses, leading to fewer jobs and slower
can,
economic.
that one you will put it under this one, second one.
Oh,
You put on the second one also can, saying that higher income tax, then what happened is what you saying again? Business Wait, but this one is personal
reduce.
income tax though, not corporate tax though.
I mean, like reduce investment in businesses.
Can that means less investment, less
Yeah.
investment. So you put like this, less investment, so less aggregate demand, slower
Mm-hmm.
economic growth with less job opportunity, like what you say.
Okay.
So you want to relate less job opportunity cans, but put under together with the slower economic growth.
All right.
Hmm. But take note, for this question, we are asking about the personal income tax, not corporate tax. So the impacts should be more towards the personal income tax, which affects on households, on
Okay.
us consumers. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, one last question. So it's in the recording, so I didn't save this one, I erase. Okay, next one. Okay, quick one, just one question, then we are done. Monetary policy has changed in Ethiopia in recent years. The country's central bank now use changes in the interest rate rather than controls on the bank lending. It has also moved from operating a fixed exchange rate system to a floating exchange rate system. The Ethiopian government used a range of supply side policy measures. Okay, the government has prioritized some sugar processing firms, but most large firms are still state owned. That means public owned. They owned by the public sector. Identify true causes of an increase in the demand for bank loans. What will result in an increase in the demand for bank loans? bank loans. I want five answers. True causes. Lower interest rate. Lower interest rate. What else? Lower interest rate, not lower price, huh? Yes, Chris, you are right. Okay, so lower interest rate, lower interest rate, higher consumer confidence, higher business confidence, more production. Why? Who say more production of goods and services? Why more production of goods and services? A bit unclear. A bit unclear. Optimistic towards the economy. Optimism. Optimistic towards the economy. What else? Availability of credit scheme. Yes. There's a bit, yeah, a bit unclear though, Cindy. When you have higher demand for goods and services, that does not mean that you always have to demand more for bank loans, unless you want to say higher demand for assets. Yeah, so the wording is a bit unclear lah. Okay, or you say higher income, lor, higher income, higher income. So higher income, so they will want to demand for higher bank loans because they can get more loans. Or like Cindy, yours one, higher demand for assets. You write like this, that sounds better. Higher demand for assets or greater availability of loans or credits. So these are the answers. Okay. Yeah. So I cover up to here first. Then next week we'll continue. We will continue with the next few questions. Choose supply side policy measures. How state-owned enterprise benefit a country's population, and the pros and cons of fixed exchange rate system. We will continue, huh?